Welcome to another episode of the Men of the House podcast, brought to you by me, Ricardo. As they used to call me, de plane, Ricardo Montebon. That is not me. But welcome, welcome. Happy Monday, everyone. And I'm recording this on Sunday, Easter Sunday to be exact, and kind of intentional. I'd been talking about rearranging the office, rearranging the environment, and I finally got around to it. So for the viewers, uh, it'll have a different look, different feel, and I have two options available, whether it's at my desk or in my chair. This one's chosen at the desk, but you can see behind me I rearranged the bookshelves, put some pictures up. Um, yeah, just new, fresh look, fresh feel. Some hygiene, if you will. Every once in a while, you got to get organized. And so, organizing the physical environment was step one. And now I got to organize the digital environment, step two, because I've kind of let it go. And that's on me. And that's okay. Um, as much as I enjoy podcasting and connection, the allowance, um, I'm not a huge fan of too much electronics, too much social media, and yeah, it's been a pain point for me lately, a source of contention. So you're not alone if you feel this way. Hmm. I actually deactivated my social media for the weekend. It's like I don't even want to look at it. I don't even want to deal with it. Just too much. But I'm kind of in this place of let's get back to basics and just start doing action. So I spent a lot of weekend doing action. What did I do? Hmm. I achieved a couple of Uber bonuses, which was nice. Worked my tail off for that. And dear Uber, man, you have got to make it make sense for me. Between Uber and Walmart, it was no bueno. Let's just say I'm unsure how their algorithm works, um, how, let's say, orders are assigned, but sometimes things just don't make no sense, you know? I was at Home Depot and picking up two orders there, and then they hit me up with an order from a restaurant like inside the same shopping center as the Home Depot. Yet when I leave Home Depot, instead of going to the restaurant to pick up the order and then jump off from there to deliver all three orders, it sends me to deliver a first order of Home Depot, like a mop head or bucket, then sends me back to the restaurant to get the food, and then sends me to deliver like 10 bags of potting soil and the food last. Make that make sense. It doesn't. Yeah. So little things like that. And then what was it? My last one was, I think it was Friday night. I was like, it was a triple from Walmart. I didn't know it was a triple. You don't really know um, till you like accept it and open it. And but I think like if you've ever got your stuff from Walmart, you'll select like a pickup time. Well, I want to say that they were an hour behind. And so I'm sitting there, and this is like 9:30 at night, and I like flag someone down, and they're like, "Oh, they're still picking the order. That's why." So I hadn't even been picked. Like Walmart was an hour behind, basically. And the guy comes out at like 10:30, and is like, "Hey, man, like, you can't check in after 10." I'm like, "I've been checked in since 9:30. I've been here for an hour waiting for these three orders." And he finally comes out with the orders, and one of the people had canceled because it was just too long. And then, I feel bad because here it is, like damn near 11 o'clock, and I'm dropping off people's groceries and then having to ring their doorbell. And, some of these houses I deliver to, you can see through the front door. And, they're asleep. There's no TV on, nobody's in the living room or anything like that. And so you're essentially waking them up to come and have to put groceries back because Walmart was running an hour behind. hmm But the sad part is me as the driver, the deliverer, I get to suffer the consequences as it relates to tip and or comments because, you know, they only see that, hey, it took this long to get here from this person. People don't usually say, oh, it's because Walmart was running an hour behind or because Uber's algorithm of the order in which they send people to drop shit off is off. Nobody ever thinks of that. Actually, I had one person, one customer. I was on, it was like three orders. Yeah. And one customer said, why don't you just wait to deliver my food when it's fully cold? Hmm. Yeah. If, hey, I'm the person just driving it to you. I don't make it. I don't assign it. I don't determine the order. I accept and I deliver. But there's so many things, in the chain, um, where it can go wrong and often goes wrong. So, but yeah, even yesterday we had some bad weather. I mean, we were under a tornado warning, and it came on awfully quick. I mean, like 80s to like 50s. I mean, I started off in shorts and ended up in pants. It got colder as the day went on, but maps were off. I went to a pharmacy, and I was actually standing at the pharmacy, and the Uber app told me I was still zero point 0.6 miles away from said pharmacy. And I think the weather had something to do with that, but it was acting all wonky and sent me to the wrong places. And I was like, okay, I've had enough. So yesterday was kind of a bust. Um, it wasn't productive towards getting the bonuses. So I was like, you just got to know when to call it quits. But I did achieve like the weekly bonus, I think like Thursday night, and then the first weekend bonus on Friday night. And because I completed the one bonus in one day, it offered up a second like bonus. Um, but yeah, no, wasn't happening. And then it told me to go out and shop my way to cash for Easter. and it was completely dead by the time I left my dad's. Once I stopped, I went and visited my dad because my wife and daughter went out of town for Easter, and I decided to stay back and work and get stuff done at home because I'm not big on holidays for one. And we've been going a lot, and we still got more to go. So much coming up. But anywho, outside of my Uber adventures, um, continuing to work on my certified end-of-life doula certification and filling in here and there as I was called this week um, to be a caregiver for someone because their caregiver called in. And it was a person who had been there before, so I was familiar. And um, yeah, it was one of the favorite things I did all week. Showing up for someone in need. And, it really cemented kind of the importance of what I'm doing here in terms of pursuing this certification and, what it will entail in terms of doing peace of mind planning sessions with people. It's the situation kind of alerted me to the importance of making a plan ahead of time. I mean, if you have a patient who's nonverbal and they can't communicate their wishes, then how do you know? Our inclination is always to fix, especially as a man, we want to fix things. What do they train doctors to do? To fix. And if you don't have a plan and you're nonverbal, they're going to fix. They're going to keep you alive, even if you may not want to be alive. And I'm going to tell you, this was the hard part. When I was caregiving and trying to assess the patient and asking him about his pain level, and he can't communicate, and asked if he was in pain, and a tear just rolled out of his eye. It was heartbreaking, and I get it. I don't know if he and his wife talked about their wishes, their plans, but what I do know is he's unable to communicate. And if he wanted something different, he couldn't get it because Yeah, that's her spouse. Of course she wants him there. She's going to do everything she can to keep him alive. Maybe as opposed to allowing nature to take its course if it's a natural death. And I mean, if you don't have these kinds of plans, you haven't communicated them, they're not in writing, they're going to keep you alive. Even if you're not there, you know, you might end up on life support until a decision is made. And I know it's something we don't want to think about. We all know we have it coming, but we all like to think that it's so far away that I'll get to it. I can do it another time in the future. It can wait. But let me tell you, we as humans, we love predictability. It's not how life works. It's not how God works. Mm. You don't ask for patience and it automatically appears. No, you're put through a struggle to learn patience. I listened to Mike Glover today. Yes, I think it was Preaching the Choir, or he has another one, but I watched his yesterday and today, and I really, really dig him. You can tell I love his honesty, um, his willingness to show reality and truth, how difficult life is. And that sometimes you want to quit. And sometimes the most you can do is put your legs over the bed and get out of the bed. Every day is different. I didn't do what he did for a living. He was a Green Beret, and you got hard hard work. He's probably my age, and you have hormones, you have depression, you have all the things you see. And so I get it, because I didn't do that. But, while he was deployed, I was in a level one trauma center. So I've seen it. I've seen more dead bodies than I know what to do with. And, you know, my nerves were so shot, and my testosterone. I actually had a doctor's appointment this week, my 6 month follow up, and I thought I was like at a 90 or 93 was my lowest. It was actually a 40 something. So yeah, at one point in time, my testosterone was 40, 43, I think. So yeah, sorting all this shit out. Some people might call it a midlife crisis. Um, Now I think it's like, you know, I'm turning 50 in a couple months, and you're on the other side of the hill, over the hill, as they call it. And yeah, it's a little frightening. It's a little scary. to know there's less and less time. You have all this stuff you want to do, all the things you need to do, all the things you thought you might do as a child, where they conflict and converge, and you're like, mm, it's you had dreams as a little kid, and then fucking life stomps you out real good, and sometimes the dreams go on the back burner. Um, but then every once in a while, you like circle back and um, no, you kind of make the most of the dream and the current situation, and understanding that, you know, I don't know, having faith in the rhyme and reason that life is this way. I mean, we are talking about Easter, right? That's what Mike Glover said. Everybody wants the Sunday, the redemption, the rising, but nobody wants the Friday, the suffering, the pain, being nailed to the cross. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I am carrying the cross, getting ready to be nailed to it, or I'm nailed to it and been nailed to it for a while. It's been rough. I mean, there's been moments of light and hope, but in a general sense, it's been really tough. And, you know, the conflict for me is you have reality and then the world. And um, mm, what the world tells you. That's always been my rub. The world says, this is it. This is the path to enlightenment. This is what enlightenment is. This is what is supposed to be happiness. This is what is supposed to be meaning. But yeah, no. I think meaning's a little bit different for everyone. One of the great things about not traveling this time, staying back, was, getting to converse with my mom. Her and I having a conversation, talking about life and the important things, and understanding how I get some of my best and worst qualities from her. But she gets it. She gets me at this level. Like, we were talking about the world. Uh, oh, yeah, it was the Home Depot order. So, if you're aware, if you've ever gotten anything from Home Depot or Lowe's online, uh, they send it to your email, you get a code, and they have these lockers, and you go punch in the code or scan a barcode, and the locker opens, and you get the goods, and you're on your way. Well, I think I mentioned before earlier in the podcast that I had like 10 bags of potting soil, and obviously they don't fit in a locker. And there's a young gentleman putting a buggy away, and I'm like, hey man, I'm an Uber driver. Like I know I see the lockers, they're by the buggies. And I'm like, where would one go to pick up 10 pallets of sand or potting soil? Because it obviously won't fit in a locker. He's like, oh no, man. Like, usually are like there, the lockers. That's where people pick up. But outside of that, I don't know. And then he just walked off. Mm-hmm. Fucking customer service at its finest. Way to go, Home Depot. And, you know, how? Why? Do you not know? You work here. This is your business. This is what you do. You can't figure it out. You can't ask someone. You got a fucking walkie talkie, handheld radio. Everyone does. And, it just irked me. Like my mom and I were talking, like, I don't know what it is. Like, people just, I know I've told this story, but it was like when I was the manager of the clinic and there was a snake out there and it ended up being a rubber snake. But I went out there and I was prepared to remove it because I run the clinic and I'm responsible and we can't call a snake wrangler. And sometimes you just gotta, you gotta go for it. Um, you gotta have like some ownership, self pride, and self respect go into that. Like, no matter what you do it well. It's like you don't see how your service fits into everything. Like, you're not seeing the meaning, you know? It was like when um, um, I don't know. I had to text my wife real quick. She's on the road. I think she tried to call because my face glitched for a second. Let's see. I'm gonna tell her face glitched. We'll see. Um, let's get back on top, back on track. So, you know, I deliver all this potting soil and stuff to an elderly lady. Let's say I was her neighbor and she needed help like getting it from her car. It's something I'd probably do for free, you know? But she ordered it through the app and I just happened to be the delivery driver. But you see, you're serving somebody, you're helping somebody who can't do for themselves or they don't know. But like this guy, um, you know, this guy, he doesn't see the bigger picture. And that's where he works, and that's his job, you know? He doesn't see that, like, I'm the solution to this person's problem. Not only am I the solution, I'm actually getting paid and assigned and told by the company and its mission statement that your job is to make sure the customer has a great experience and to serve them. And yeah. And so it just blows me away. Like I just don't get it. People are so far removed from reality. But I mean, look, look at the world. Look at social media. Man, I was watching a podcast or listening to one or the other. And you know, the whole AI and it's just mm, my brain. That's how much it impacts it. I'm actually frozen. My brain's frozen. I've gotten dumber. Hmm. No. The point is I think somebody was saying like, you know, used to like the only way to see a celebrity or the finest of the fine was, to buy a magazine or to go watch a movie to see actors. That was glamorous, but now you open your phone and you see glamour everywhere. And so it makes it kind of seem like it's common, I guess. Um, and, you know, it kind of imprints false, I guess, expectations of the world, uh, a false sense of um, reality, what's available, or how things should be versus how things are. Everything seems common, so you know, everybody wants what everybody else wants. That's why you try to keep up with the Joneses, and it just runs people mad. You know, they're out trying to get their little piece, be like that, or it always comes to mind. Kids, when you ask them, they no longer want to be astronauts, firemen, policemen. They want to be an influencer. Yeah, but influence to do what? Like Kim Kardashian. She's an influencer. What? For her brand of underwear, undergarments. It's like, is that useful to the world? People need clothes. Yes. You need to be clothed, let's say as a human need. But when you get down to it, in terms of luxury and price, and as it relates to influence, you know, how about if you're a person of influence, it should be for something positive, like making the world a better place, you know, finding the cure for cancer. Um, yeah, things like that. That should be what an influencer is. Influence to do better, to be better, not influence to get more so you can be more like the other mores, where it's always more, 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 that kind of thing. Yeah. And through all this, though, I did find a great deal of satisfaction. You could probably hear it in my voice. And if you're watching, you can see it on the screen. It was like my little aha moment. I was watching Diary of a CEO last night, and somebody who's running for whatever they have in Canada, prime minister, I think in 29, and he was talking about, you know, the problems in Canada, the land, the bureaucracy, and how the money comes in, more money goes to the people at the top making the rules than it actually goes to the materials or people who actually build your house. You know, it takes like 7 years to get a fucking permit to build something. It's ridiculous. And therefore, they have like 100,000 unemployed, laid off construction workers because people are busy lining their pockets with power. And, it gets top heavy, kind of like any organization. And asking people to give up power is nope, good luck. So, I don't participate in that kind of stuff. But, as they were discussing this, AI obviously comes up, and jobs, and um, the pursuit of passion, and universal income, and what would people do, and they could pursue this, that, the other. Um, Things that have meaning, things that we have passion for, like such as the arts for some of us. Um, but, my little aha moment was when you're on your deathbed, it's not going to be a robot there comforting you, connecting to you, holding your hand, trying to understand what's happening, giving that empathy, the kindness, compassion, and love as a person transitions out of this dimension. No, you're going to want a human. And that's where I come in. You know, you don't call the robot when the caregiver calls in, you call another caregiver. And when it's that time at the end, there's going to be people, not robots. There's going to be the people who loved you, who cared for you. And if you have no family, you might have me, like Buck. So that's what's important. I'm recession proof. Everybody's gonna, we're all gonna get it. So yeah, it's pretty heavy, huh? A hell of an aha moment, I guess. But I was in a book club and, we were talking about things that supercharge you, that refresh you. For me, it's connection, going to a concert, going to see Kyle Smith, meeting strangers in the crowd like Alex, like Ryan, having the opportunity to interview them, and then connecting with them through and through. That's the meaning. That's love. That's what I love. That's the realm I work in. Oddly enough, showing up Tuesday when that person called in was also a recharge for me. Being there when it mattered, that's what matters to me. I'm a lot of things. I've done some horrible things. I have been a bad person. I'm still not great by any stretch of the imagination. But for the most part, I show up when it counts, when it matters, when you need me. And, that's what I have to offer. And sometimes showing up is, you know, being present. So you can see how, if that's the most important thing to me, that why social media creates friction for me. Because I think, you know, I don't know, but it definitely feels weird and odd, I guess, to say the least. Hmm. And for me, it's a matter of conveying this message, trying to close the gap. Sometimes I feel like the harder I try, the bigger the gap gets in terms of mm, people's ideas and pursuits of why they are here. You know, I mean, for me, it's like, yeah, life has always been about meaning and purpose. Like, you don't do things just to do them, they need to have a purpose. I find myself watching less TV and watching more podcasts because for me, it's learning. That's what I like. You see behind me, I'm watching Arthur Brooks. My man Scotty G sent me a screenshot of a book, his new book, and I guess to promote said book, he's making his rounds, and so I listen to him, listen to a podcast with him, and watching another one now. But yeah, purpose and meaning. Like I never really did stuff just to do it. Always felt like there had to be intention and purpose behind it, and that's what made it meaningful. And my whole life was always, hey, service, purpose, meaning, military, healthcare, even cooking. Yeah, serving. But I'm unsure I don't have the pulse of others, you know, what they think the meaning of life is or what they're here to do. Um, or do others actually see like the connectedness or not? You know, I don't, I feel like they do in a sense, but some of the actions when I'm out in the world make me think otherwise. Like make it make sense. Like with Uber, it's like, come on, man. It all loops back. They're running an hour behind. And it's like, I think some people, they're just existing. They haven't asked themselves those existential questions. Maybe they don't have the aptitude. I don't know. But it sure makes the world a lot more challenging. I'll tell you that. Always has. I've always felt like I was reading some other book on a different page. But, I think some of it is, just too privileged. Um, some people haven't seen real tragedy, real injustice, real pain. Therefore, they're unable to identify it in others. Subsequently, not understanding how they contribute to it, to the problem. And that's kind of where I'm at, is like, as it relates to a whole, I have to make sure I am not part of the problem, but rather the solution. And the only way to get that solution out there is through talking and trying to get people to understand, to get us on the same page. Hmm. Like, so we could live in harmony instead of conflict. Hmm. I was like, ooh, but harmony doesn't sell. Oh, yes, it does. Ebony and ivory. Yeah, it pays. Harmony pays. So does conflict. We just got to get harmony to pay out a little bit more. That's it. All I can do is help. I can do my part, like littering. I can't control if you throw a cigarette butt out the window, but I could always control me, whether I threw a cigarette butt out the window when I was a smoker. It's like, no, I'm not going to fucking burn down the forest or whatever, start a fire just because I'm entitled and not thoughtful and unaware. I can do my part. And if everybody just does their part, it'd be a little bit better place. Yes, this is my contribution to society, to my fellow man, to put it out there and see if somebody else can grab a hold of it and go, I get it. Now let me do my part and pay it forward and pass it along. Kind of like my weight loss. Maybe we wake up one day and the world is just better. Somebody mentioned, and I've mentioned it before. I mean, it should not take a natural disaster to get people to unite and come together. It should not take a terrorist attack to unite and get people to come together. No. Mm-mm. It should take very little. It should be as easy as that's happened to me. I don't like the way that feels. I'm not going to do it to another person. Yeah. I don't know, world. We'll see. We'll see how the week progresses. Every day is a new day, and none of us are promised tomorrow. So you got to do what you can while you can. and pray to God that it lands somewhere useful to someone who needed to hear it. Give somebody hope. But yeah. Hmm. I know there's a lot there. Some food, just sit on it as some food for thought, how it relates to you. Then ask yourself what matters, what truly matters. I mean, yeah, it's cool. We got self driving cars and apps that will do anything from tell you to, you know, adjust your thermostat, close your blinds. I mean, you can have a smart home, it could be luxurious. Everything's on easy. But hey, like when the Uber app went out, I went to three, and they were like, "You're like the third or fourth driver who's come here. Like, it's broke on our side. Like one thing messes up, it all messes up. You can't rely on it. Get the bug. you know, it's like we as humans go. Like when you're sick, you're like, oh, I just got the bug. But in an electronic system, you get a bug, shit starts going haywire. It doesn't do what it's supposed to do. So what's going to happen when we build machines that are more accurate and better at doing things than humans, and they get a bug? Hmm. Can't put them in jail. Can't incarcerate them like we do humans for doing wrong things. Yeah, there's a whole other dilemma there, huh? What happens if the robot unintentionally harms someone because it has a bug? I'm sure our our best and brightest minds are out there addressing this, right? Hopefully. But I'm not going to worry myself with that. I'm going to do me. Stay true to me in human form. um, and if you need me, you can call me and I'll show up. So, once everything is done, once I get my certification, I'll be putting more out there on doing these peace of mind planning sessions and how to get one and what you can do. That way, you have some peace of mind. Going back to the beginning. Hmm. Because as humans, we like to have control. We don't like things that are out of control. And this peace of mind planning is essentially a way to give you back some control while you're able to verbalize and understand and make those decisions. Because once you're unable to, you're out of control. It's not in your control, and it will be left up to others. So if you want to be in control, you're going to hit me up. We're going to do a peace of mind planning session. You're going to tell your friends about it and every family member about it. We're going to do one for each of them too. And then, should any of your family members, friends, relatives, loved ones, anyone you know need that support, guidance, caring, someone to hold space, you're going to call me and I'll be there. Whenever you call me, I'll be there. Right? Because I'm the guy that shows up. So, until then, go out and be the person that you want to meet. I love you guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting. Please like, subscribe, share. Get more people onto me. I'll reopen my social media because, as much as I hate it, if I don't do it, then the people who actually need me won't be able to get to me and won't be able to find me and won't be able to access me. And I can't have that because nobody should die alone. That's why I'm here. So I'm actually going to do that now. I'm going to reopen my social media because, as much as I hate it and a lot of things surrounding it, there's somebody out there who needs that access to me. And I can't be selfish. I'm not that kind of person. Mm-mm. I'm not the guy you ask a question and it's, I don't know, and walk away. No, I'll figure it the fuck out. I don't know. We'll figure it out and we'll make it happen together. Just like Buck. I don't know what's going to happen, where it's going to go. I don't know the meaning. God just said, will you show up? And I said, yes. Okay. So here I am, showing up. Don't know where it'll go, but all I can promise you is that I'll be there, right beside you, till the end. So, happy Easter. Until next time, peace.